Okay, so people haven't joined yet. We're still at zero. I
That's
don't
okay.
know. All right, so we got two people join. I don't know.
I can't see anybody, but hi, thanks for tapping in.
I know. I don't know. Um, so YouTube, I think we're back on YouTube. I'm not sure about Facebook. I'm gonna check Facebook one more time, TK, because we're on YouTube.
Yeah, that's fine. Not a problem at all.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So let me check Facebook one more time and
Okay.
see if
Nope.
it's working over there. If it's not, then so be it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm scared to touch now.
Just keep your hands to yourself. Keep your
That's
hands.
why. Let me see. And it says that yeah. Okay, so just saying, YouTube only, no Facebook yet.
Oh, okay.
So I know we're already late. Do you want to give people a minute or two? You think?
That's okay. No, that's fine. Whenever you're ready, I'm fine.
Let me just notify because I had sent out a message like, "Hey, we're live on YouTube." So I'm just gonna
Right.
resend another message, just letting them know that hey, I'm sorry, ignore the first link.
Let me have Hanny share this on our Facebook also. 1 second.
Okay.
So she says she can see us on YouTube, no Facebook.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, that's okay.
that's what everyone is saying. Let me just share the link one more time and just let people know
Hmm.
that we are back on. Hmm. Who's that? Podcast. Yes. I'm sorry, KK.
Oh no, Haja, please, girl, you are fine, girl. Listen, I go live every day. It's bound to be something. It's all good.
Listen, I can't deal with technology.
Did
Okay.
even a live if something doesn't go wrong, girl. Bye. It's
You know what? I'm glad that we're laughing about it because to be honest with you, I prepared, right? I was like, listen, today's gonna go well. We're not gonna have
right.
no technical difficulties. And here we are.
No, no, it's all good. It's all good.
All righty. So we got a couple of people on YouTube. I mean, Facebook, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Facebook, but I mean,
If you want, maybe, I don't know. It's like I can go on Facebook on my phone.
mhm.
We can do that. But then they're not gonna be able to see you though.
Oh, they won't see me.
Or
Could you go on Facebook? Could we just do, because I feel like, I mean, I don't know which platform has a bigger audience. I don't know if Facebook has a bigger audience than YouTube, but I do think that I feel like content on YouTube stays like that's a lot more,
why don't
valuable.
we why don't we do this? Why don't we um go on live? I'm gonna go on live now on Facebook. Or but you are you using your computer or your phone?
My phone. Because
And you're not even home.
I'm
So
not home. I'm like loaning an office right now. This is not my setup.
because I was thinking we could go on, we can do it the getaway. We can go
Okay.
we can go on Facebook here and then have YouTube. But whichever one.
Haja, you can do whatever works. I just have a phone. That's all I have. I just have a phone.
Oh Lordy Lord. All righty. Okay, let's just stay with YouTube and we can
Okay.
share on Facebook for our folks
Yeah,
there. I'm
exactly.
sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Thank you to some of you that have already tuned in. Um, so um, good evening, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. Yay! Are you happy? You're gonna be eating a lot tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, I can't believe it's the end of the year. Like, where did time go? Like, I
Right.
felt like this year went by so fast.
It did.
And
I know. And
well,
it's
that's
almost
very
Christmas, right? Yeah, it's fan of the year. It's that was
yeah, yeah, like oh my
Mhm.
goodness. But anywho, so welcome back, dear viewers, to another insightful episode of Let's Get Real with Hadra. Today we have a distinguished guest with us who brings a wealth of knowledge and experience in the intricate world of immigration law.
Mhm.
Um, our guest is not just an attorney, but a dedicated advocate who has been instrumental in guiding individuals through the often complex process of becoming U.S. citizens. Um, she is the fastest known for a commitment to helping others achieving the American dream. She she has a passion, right, for immigration law, and she has successfully navigated countless clients through the pathway to legal citizenship. As we grapple with the discussion on immigration policies and the pursuit of the American dream, we are honored to have the Gil, as she called it. So I did my research.
You're so funny, Haja. I love it.
So she's here to shed light on the nuances of the citizenship process. She's going to be sharing some valuable insight and answers to your burning questions. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming the Fierce Factor, Mrs. Gilman, to the show.
I feel like I'm walking on stage, right? Like there should be an audience like welcome me on stage.
You are. You
That's
are.
awesome. Well, Haja, that was a very, very gracious introduction. Thank you so much. And first, thank you so much for having this platform, right? Thank you. This platform is so powerful for a lot of Sierra Leoneans and West Africans or Africans and immigrants to kind of connect and relate to all kinds of issues. And in particular, my area of expertise is immigration. So for those of you joining who don't know me, I am Kiki Gilman, the fiercest immigration attorney.
And thank you so much, Kiki, for joining us, especially on this Thanksgiving Eve, right?
Yeah,
I know you should be socializing by now, and then here you are giving us your precious time, gracing, gracing us with your precious. So honestly, truly, I truly appreciate you. So let's kind of get let's get into it because we're
mhm.
already kind of late, but
Right. Absolutely. Let's
let's not
go.
delay this any further. But Kiki, can you briefly share a little more about yourself, your experience in immigration law, especially in helping individuals navigate the path to citizenship?
Absolutely. So first, I am an immigrant, right? But
Mhm.
that's not why I'm an immigration attorney, because any immigrant can try to be an immigration attorney. It doesn't work that way. I particularly enjoy immigration law because I know that I am able to bring a different perspective
Mhm.
and fiercely advocate for immigrants in their path and their journey to legal citizenship. So, in my practice, we primarily represent people who have been victims of domestic violence through marriage.
Mhm.
So, you marry a US citizen or green card holder, things don't work out, and they're using the process to control you.
Mhm.
This is incredibly prevalent in the African communities and Caribbean communities, and a lot of Latino communities also.
Right.
And so, a lot of people don't know that when you marry a US citizen or a green card holder and things don't go well, or the marriage is kind of not working out, you are able, as the immigrants, to seek a green card on your own without your partner. We
Wow.
also represent clients who have marriage-based green cards. I mean, I got my green card through my husband. We're still married 15 years later, three beautiful boys. So we help clients in that process also. We also do asylum cases, but very specific in the matters of female genital mutilation.
Uh-huh.
We there are a lot of asylum claims that come out of Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ghana, Nigeria. We also handle classic, just citizenship. You know, you've had your green card for 3 years or 5 years, and you're seeking to apply for naturalization. There's also an area of immigration law that's very, very underutilized, and that's the T visa.
Mhm.
The T visa is for victims of trafficking.
Mm.
Trafficking shows up where you've been abused either in an employment setting or
Mhm.
even with a partner. So a domestic partner where maybe you're brought in on a K-1 visa as a fiance, you get here, they refuse to marry you. Now you're doing all the cooking, you're doing all the cleaning, and you're essentially a domestic slave. So that's a very underutilized and very not well known path to a green card that a lot of immigrants are just not aware of.
Great, great. All right, so Kiki, let's kind of start with the basics, right? So what is the general process or steps for someone to become a legal citizen in the US? And it's if you can speak to folks that are already living in the US and those that are seeking to come to the US.
Yeah. So to start with the US, it would depend on what you're eligible for. So that it starts with a consultation,
Mhm.
right? So we have a lot of people enter the United States either as visitors
Mhm.
or as students, F1 students. Um, Other times they enter as green card holders, and then they're here as a legal permanent residents and they get their citizenship. But if you enter as a visitor or a student, those are non-immigrant visas. So once you're here, if you happen to marry a US citizen or a green card holder, that's a path to a green card and citizenship. Or if you have a parent that's a US citizen, they can file for you. If you have a parent that's a green card holder, they can file for you. But there are a lot of different intricacies. For example,
Mhm.
if you have a parent that's a US citizen
Mhm.
and you are under 21
Mhm.
and you entered legally, let's say you came as a visitor and you're 17 and
Mhm.
your parent is a US citizen, you can adjust your status inside the United States,
Mhm.
even if you fall out of status as long as you're under 21. Okay.
Mhm.
However, if you enter the United States as a visitor, and let's say you're 17 and you fall out of status,
Mhm.
even if you were under 21, if your parent is not a US citizen and only a green card holder,
Mhm.
you cannot adjust status in the United States. You have to leave and consular process.
Mhm.
Okay. So those are just kind of like very intricate like details that a lot of people are not aware of.
Right.
Let's say you enter as a visitor and you're in the United States and you fall out of status and somehow you end up working somewhere and you're being taken advantage of, you're being abused by your employer, you're not promised you're promised a certain wage but now you're being paid a lot less, you're working extra hours, you may qualify for a T visa. That's a victim of trafficking visa,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
If you enter as a visitor and let's say 6 months later you fall in love with a United States citizen, as long as you entered legally, even though you may have fallen out of status, you can still adjust status if your spouse is a US citizen.
Mhm.
But if your spouse is a green card holder and you fall out of status, you're not able to get your green card in the US. So I say that to say immigration law is exceptionally complicated.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Very complicated.
By
Yeah.
all indication. Well, all
Mhm.
right. So thank you for that answer. So uh, are there any specific pathway or consideration for individuals with unique circumstances, such as I know you had mentioned some, but people such as refugees, asylees, or victims of crime seeking citizenship?
Yeah, so victims of crime fall under the U visa. So if you're in the United States and you've been assaulted, aggravated assault, you may qualify for a U visa. Refugees typically get their status outside of the US and they enter as refugees. We don't really handle those cases. One thing I'm really clear about,
Mhm.
immigration law is really vast. I don't handle all areas. I don't. I'm
Yeah,
very,
and that was one of my questions too.
yeah. Yeah, I am very, because it's such a large and grand and big
Broad.
landscape. To be really good at what you do, you have to specialize. And so we specialize in marriage based
Mhm.
green cards for victims of domestic violence, people married to US citizens or green card holders through VAWA. We
Mhm.
handle T visas, victims of trafficking, U visas, and even with asylum, only certain cases, because there are a lot of different, paths through asylum, and we don't handle all of those.
Oh,
So
wow.
we're very specialized.
Mhm. Yeah. So, guys, a quick segue for those that are watching right now. If you have any burning question, please go ahead and list it in the chat. We'll come back to that. So, the way we're gonna do it is that Kiki and I are just gonna chit chat for like 30 minutes, and then we'll give you guys the other 30 minutes to just we'll designate it to just answering your questions. So please, at any point, we can always come back
Right.
to those questions. So if you feel like we're rushing through stuff, we're going through stuff so fast.
So
Like,
I gotta go make my turkey. Let's get through this.
what an awful time to set up an interview. But yeah,
That's
back
fine.
back to yeah. So please go ahead and post in your questions. So Kiki, what are some common challenges or obstacles individuals may face during the citizenship application process? How can folks overcome these obstacles?
Okay. So I want to kind of distinguish. I feel like a lot of people just say citizenship
Hmm.
when they really mean like a green card. So in the United States, the first thing you get is your green card. And depending on how you got your green card, you may be eligible for citizenship 3 years later or 5 years later.
Hmm.
So if we want to talk about obstacles with with a green card, a lot
Hmm.
of the common issues I see are in marriage-based green card cases,
Hmm.
not having enough evidence to show that your marriage is real, right? People lying on their applications. For example, you're
Hmm.
filing a marriage-based green card, you've worked illegally, and you're, instead of checking yes to working unauthorized, you're checking no, not knowing that checking yes is okay, because if you're married to a US citizen, they waive that issue. It's not
Right.
a, but what causes you an issue is lying on your application. So I see that a lot.
Hmm.
I see a lot of issues with divorce decrees. This is huge, particularly from clients from Nigeria. And I don't know how much of your audience is Nigerian, but we see a lot of issues with Nigerian divorce decrees because, according to USCIS,
Hmm.
70% of them are fake. We see a lot of issues with those. Mhm. We see a lot of issues with just, maybe you initially filed for asylum.
Hmm.
Now you're filing for a marriage-based green card, but your stories are not matching up. So if you were watching this and you filed maybe one or two previous applications, please know when you file that marriage green card, they're going to go back and look at the facts and your testimony from your previous application. If there's anything that's inconsistent, that's going to be a problem.
And as you were talking about that, one thing that came to mind is that what a lot of people do not realize is that this system talk to each other.
Of course.
So once you enter one information, you have to be
Yeah.
consistent. You can't just go back
No.
and change stuff, and then they come back and like, oh,
Mhm.
wait a minute.
Right.
Back in 1991, you said this.
Right.
Now you saying,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't know that. So, one thing that we do at our law firm, we don't play around. When you do a consultation, we ask you, have you ever filed any previous applications, particularly asylum? Like, if you filed asylum,
Mhm.
oh, baby, we're getting that FOIA, something called a Freedom of Information Act.
Mhm.
It's a request to get your
That's
intelligence.
the FOIA, right? FOIA.
FOIA. Yep, FOIA. Freedom of Information Act. So we don't touch, if you've had previous applications, we are not touching your case until we get your, because we want to ensure that the application we submit is consistent
Yeah.
with previous applications. Yeah.
Mhm. It's very,
So
very important. It's very, very important.
very important. Very important.
Yeah. So, so given the dynamic nature of immigration policies, how can individuals stay informed about changes that may impact their path to citizenship?
Yeah. So certainly watch the news. Okay. Right now we have an election coming up at the end of 2024. If you are an immigrant without status, I would be really concerned.
Mhm.
We know that it's very likely we're going to have a change in administration. The other party is promising mass deportations. They're promising camps for unauthorized illegal immigrants. They're promising canceling TPS. I mean, it's very, very scary. And so I would say any person who's watching this, or if you know somebody who knows somebody and you're currently undocumented, contact an attorney. There are a lot of people who may be eligible for a lot of different relief and they just don't know. They just don't know. I mean, there are folks right now who are eligible for T visas because they've been abused in their workplace, they've been abused by a domestic partner, and they don't know because they haven't contacted a lawyer before and they have no idea. So the most important thing you can do is contact an attorney and have them properly screen you and see if you're eligible for it. Because I mean, you don't want to be sitting there and then you waste time and now time has passed and you're no longer eligible. So definitely start with a consultation and stay updated with, I mean, uscis.gov, they give updates on there, and certainly, you know, the news. There's always updates and everything happening around immigration, and that's how you stay updated. Get on TikTok. TikTok is very current. Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. The next question is something that you kind of already touched on a little bit, but I just wanted to kind of give us like an in-depth, understanding of it. But like, how important is it for individuals to seek legal assistance when applying for citizenship?
Is so I think the best way to demonstrate this is an example, right? So I've had a lot of consultations where I'm like, oh my God, you screwed up, like you messed up. So I had a case come to me where someone had entered the United States. Her mother had filed for her as a green card holder. So the mom was a green card holder and the mom had filed for her. Before she entered the United States, she got married, but she didn't tell immigration, right? So she entered as unmarried. After she entered, she filed for her husband, who she had married before she entered the United States. When she filed for her husband without a lawyer, USCIS goes, wait a minute, you got married March, 2020, but you entered the United States May 2020. Technically, your visa was no longer valid because there's no category for a married child of a green card holder. Right. And so had she sought the counsel of an attorney, an experienced attorney, they would have said, wait a minute, don't submit this because technically your green card was actually no longer valid once you married your partner and you enter the United States as a married daughter of a green card holder, and there's no category for that. And they sent her a response, and they were essentially telling her that her green card was going to be revoked. So I give that example to tell you immigration law is more than just forms. So everyone's just like, oh, it's just forms. It's just forms. The forms are there to gather your data, just to get like your information. There is very, very complex legal analysis that follows the information you provide. Legal analysis that you do not understand because you're not a lawyer.
Right.
Legal analysis that some lawyers don't even understand because they're not experienced enough. So make sure, I mean, if being in the United States is not a big, if you don't really care, like deport me or not, then sure, like take the chance. But if being in the country is important to you, it's worth investing in an attorney.
Totally. All right, so thank you so much. So, are there community organization or resources that can provide support to individuals going through the citizenship processes?
Well, there are nonprofit organizations that you can certainly reach out to. I mean, there are private attorneys like myself. I am not a nonprofit. Yes, we charge, and we charge a lot because we provide good work. Okay, so if you're going to come and reach out to my law firm, be prepared for great service, but you will pay. That being said, there are nonprofits that will take your case for either low bono or pro bono, but you would have to qualify. So what I recommend is if you're not able to hire a private attorney like me, research in your area and see what nonprofits are available and see if you qualify.
Right. Okay, great. So Kiki, what is the role, what role can immigration lawyers like yourself play in facilitating a smooth and successful citizenship application?
Well, I mean, when you hire an attorney who's experienced, and again, it's not just hiring any lawyer, because trust me, I have to clean up a lot of mess from a lot of attorneys. So you do your research and hire an experienced, knowledgeable attorney. Do your research. The Google reviews don't lie. So the way we facilitate the process is we ensure that we do a thorough research on your background, right? We ensure that we're screening you properly for the right relief, and making sure things are timely, the evidence is presented in the manner in which your case is compelling, because the idea is to present the most compelling case based on the facts. And so when you hire an experienced immigration attorney, the job is to increase our chance of a positive outcome, essentially, right, in the most efficient manner. So it's an investment that's worthwhile for you if getting your green card and having legal status in this country is important to you. Like I said, if it's not important to you, then sure, try to DIY and see what happens. But if it's important, then make the investment.
Right. I totally agree on that. I agree. So, Kiki, how can viewers get in contact with you if they have additional questions?
Yeah, so our law firm is the Gilman Immigration Law Firm. So we're on Instagram. We're Gilman Immigration _law. We're on Facebook, the Gilman Immigration Law Firm. Our website is gilmanimmigration.com. And just do a quick Google search. Trust me, you can find us. Okay, read the Google reviews. They don't lie. Read the receipts. And currently, Haja, we're actually offering free consultations on any VAWA. So VAWA is, again.
Yes. What is that VAWA? If you can give us
So VAWA is a powerful relief for anyone married to a U.S. citizen or green card holder, or was married and now divorced, but your divorce has not been more than 2 years. And essentially, your marriage is toxic. I mean, I kind of have to just explain in very general terms.
No, yeah, of course.
Right. If you're married to a U.S. citizen or green card holder and your marriage is toxic and they're using their status and the process to control you, telling you they're not going to file, telling you they're not going to go to the interview, telling you they're going to withdraw, give us a call. You are very likely eligible to file for your green card on your own. So we're offering free consultations on those, and also free consultations on T visas. Again, T visas. And let me just kind of give you some examples. If you're working home health care and you're an immigrant, if you're working at a restaurant, if you're working at a hotel, if you're an au pair, a nanny, it's very likely you may be in a T visa trafficking situation where you're overworked, you're underpaid, you don't have a voice, you're required to do work, for 3 people, and you're not able to speak up because you're undocumented. So you may qualify for a T visa.
It's great. It's great. I'm sure a lot of people didn't even, like someone like me, I didn't even know about all this different visa. But I mean, this is a great information.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. Guys, please don't forget to send your questions. We're kind of almost like wrapping up with our one-on-one segment. KK would like to hear from you guys, and if you have any questions, please go ahead and post them here. So, Kiki, are there any limit state that you are unable to represent clients in?
You mean states that I can't No. So the beauty of immigration law, it's federal. So I can represent, we have clients in all 50 states. When I go live, I always say, I don't have a client in Alaska. So if you're watching this and you're in Alaska, reach out. I may hook a little something up because I don't have a client in Alaska just yet. That's the only state.
Call her. Call
me.
The body.
Right. So we have clients in all 50 states. I mean, our physical office, our physical plant is in Minneapolis, but we have clients in Maryland. We have clients in Delaware, Texas. We have clients in Washington State, New York, New Jersey. We have clients in all 50 states. The only state to date that I know we don't have a client is Alaska. So there's no limit. We can represent clients in all 50 states.
Okay, we just got our first question. Someone said, "Good evening, ladies. Can you file for a niece or nephew outside the country?"
Yeah, so unfortunately, you cannot. USCIS only recognizes like blood relatives, so like parents, children, spouses, and siblings.
They have to be immediate, like family members.
Yeah, so immediate relatives are considered spouses, children under 21, and parents of U.S. citizens. Those are immediate relatives. There's something called preference category, which are siblings, children of green card holders, spouse of green card holders. So that's separate. But nieces and nephews, so like uncles, nieces, nephews, grandparents, those do not count. If you have nieces and nephews out of the United States, what I strongly recommend is adoption, which I don't touch adoption. I don't know. So that's a completely different.
I think that takes a long time. I'm not sure how many.
It takes, and it's a very specialized area that I never got into. So I would say hire an immigration attorney that literally only does adoption, because I've seen so many mess ups on adoption. It's a disaster. So, yeah.
So, Kiki, have you ever had a situation where you were not able to represent someone legally? Did you provide consultation services, or how did that work? Or you've never had that situation?
A situation where I was unable to represent them?
Yeah.
So yeah, there are a lot of, we do hundreds of consultations a month, and there are some cases where I'm like, there's nothing I can do. And I just tell them there's nothing I can do, and tell them if something changes, they can come back. Or if it's like an adoption, I refer them out. I mean, I get those a lot.
Oh,
wow. We get those a lot. So, because I'm very transparent. I'm very honest. I'm very blunt. If I can't help you, I don't need to take your money, because that's unethical. So I tell you, there's nothing I can do. If something changes, you're welcome to come back. But for now, there's nothing we can do.
That is great. And it's very important that you even state that out, because a lot of folks will tell you, okay, I offer the services, and then you pay your money and you don't end up getting what the result that you want. So I mean, that's great that you can be upfront with people and just letting them know that, hey, I don't think this is visible. I don't think this is gonna work. And so that is great. Any more questions, guys? Feel free to send in your questions. So, Kiki, what is the how challenging is your job?
Oh, it's very challenging, especially so in my space. I would say 70% of our cases are domestic violence. And when I say domestic violence, guys, please understand, this is more than just physical harm. This is emotional, psychological, verbal abuse, abandonment, control, manipulation. And a lot of my clients are in toxic marriages. I mean, marriage is hard. I mean, I've been married 15 years, and let me tell you, it's hard. Okay. And when you are in a marriage and one person has an advantage because they're able to file your green card, and they know the value of giving you legal status, and not only is the marriage hard, but now they're using that
against you.
So those are easily 70% of my cases. So I mean, I'm talking a lot of, I see a lot of heavy stuff. And the victims of trafficking, we deal with commercial sex trafficking, where women are being basically prostituted, or again, brought into the United States under the guise of a K-1 visa. That happens a lot. They're brought in. A lot of times the traffickers change their age. So maybe they're 21 or 22, and they increase their age. They falsify documents, increase their age to like 28 or 30, bring them to the United States, do not marry them. They do not marry them. And they keep them home for sex and domestic work. And yes, and this happens a lot in West Africa. It happens a lot in the Caribbean. And these are my clients. And a lot of them don't know that they have a path to citizenship through a T visa, because T visas, again, are a very specialized area of immigration law that a lot of attorneys don't handle, but I do. And I am on a mission to spread the word and let a lot more people know that if you find yourself in this situation, you may have a path to legal status in the United States. So it's heavy work. It's very, very emotionally draining.
I'm sure, but that's great work. It's very rewarding. It is. You're helping someone,
Yes.
live a better life. So that is great. Thank you for what you do. We have another question. This person said, if you got your green card, permanent residency through marriage, do you have to worry if your spouse wants to divorce you before citizenship. You want me to read it again? Sorry. I think you kind of froze for a second. Kiki. I think you froze. You frozen. Let's see. I'm scared to touch, guys. I'm scared to touch. Me and technology, we don't go together. So hopefully Kiki can reboot. Yeah, she's frozen. So hang on, guys. Hopefully she's back on. Just got a message from them. Let's see what the problem is. She said, I'm checking with Miss Kiki on. Okay. So she left the room. Okay. I think she's back. She left. So when she comes back, I will add her on. Okay. Hold on, guys. But meanwhile, you can still keep sending your questions in, and Kiki is gonna try to answer all your questions. I know you guys have a lot of burning questions. Go ahead and post them down in the chat, and I'm gonna promise we'll get through all of them. Okay, I think Kiki is back. Let me find her. Okay, I've seen her. Hello, lady. I lost you for a second.
I'm sorry. I don't know what happened, but here I am.
Yay. All right. So let me read that message again. It says, if you got your green card permanent residency through marriage, do you have to worry if your spouse wants to divorce you before citizenship?
So it depends. Do you have a 2-year temporary green card or do you have a 10-year green card? Because if you have a 10-year green card, your spouse can divorce you. It's fine. But the only thing is if your spouse is a U.S. citizen, you wouldn't be able to file your citizenship in 3 years. You got to wait 5 years. If you have a temporary 2-year green card, which means at the time your green card was issued, your marriage was not 2 years, you hadn't hit 2 years of marriage, then you would have to remove those conditions and get your 10-year green card based on a waiver. One of the waivers is divorce, extreme cruelty and abuse, or hardship. So it would see these questions. I like when, because it's like people think that the answers are so simple. It's like, it's complex. Like, what green card do you have? Is a spouse a green card holder, or U.S. citizen? When did you get your green card? These are all complexities of immigration law.
Wow.
Yeah. So that whoever asked that, give us a call. Let's do a consultation. I know we don't have our phone number in the comment, but just Google the Gilman Immigration Law Firm. Trust me, it ain't hard to find us. It pops right up on Google.
Yeah, and I'll try to share your link as well. But yeah, that's a great question, and just kind of explain the complexity of your job. That's, oh my goodness. Yeah, it's not so easy, and on surface level, it feels like oh, okay, this is what it is, but it's actually not.
It's not. And this is why I say, when I talk about my immigration story, when I married my husband, I met my husband in law school, and we were married 15 years, have 3 beautiful boys. I was an attorney when we filed my green card. I was a lawyer, and so is he. He's also an attorney. Do you think we filed our green card on our own? No, we hired a lawyer. Because at that time in my career, I wasn't this experienced yet. I mean, I knew immigration law, but I wasn't going to take the chance and screw up my case. Okay? So we hired a lawyer and paid a lot of money, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. Look at you now.
Okay, girl. Okay.
So I guess to follow back on that question, the person now said, I think it's 10 years. I think the question that you asked.
So they have a 10-year green card.
I guess so. Is it 10 years green card?
Okay, so if you have a 10-year green card, I mean, your spouse, certainly, if they want to file divorce, that's fine. Then you have nothing to worry about. But the only thing is you would have to you wouldn't be able to get your citizenship after 3 years. And I'm assuming your spouse is a U.S. citizen, because if they're a green card holder, it doesn't really matter because you have to wait 5 years anyway. So now you got to file citizenship after 5. But let me just point out something very, very important. I don't know the facts of your marriage. I don't know what's going on, but do know that even when your spouse divorces you and you're filing after 5 years, assuming your partner is a U.S. citizen, they are going to go back and scrutinize that marriage. Okay. Yep. To ensure that the marriage was real, because they're seeing. So here's one thing, Haja, I think this is really, really important to highlight. Marriage fraud is real. Marriages that are not bona fide, meaning they're just for immigration purposes. Oh, let's get married. I'll pay you this. Let's pretend we live together. Let's get our bills together. Oh, USCIS has an entire fraud unit.
Wow, that investigate
With millions of dollars and a whole bunch of officers that are super, super overzealous. Okay? To investigate and confirm your marriage is fraud. So you guys be very, very, very careful. Even so, getting your green card is not the end of the road, because when it comes time for the citizenship, you're giving them yet another opportunity to go back and investigate your marriage. So I'm just putting that out there, just saying. I don't know the facts of your case, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, that's good information too. Oh
Mhm.
my goodness. Woo.
Yeah.
Lordy Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for more questions to come in, I got one more question for you. What is, I know we talk about the complex, so I like to talk about a little bit about the dirt. And only if you can share, you're able to share, but I don't want to get you in trouble or anything like that.
Right.
What is the most complex case you've had? If you can share a story, of course.
Oh.
I totally understand.
Oh my goodness. We have, I mean, I think an easier question is, what are some of the easiest cases you've had? Because I mean, our cases are complex, but I'll share this one with you. And very generally, one of my first VAWA cases was a man from Liberia. And I can share this because he did like a review, he did videos, and they're public. But so he had entered as a K1 fiance, married his partner, and she had put him through the ringer. I mean, verbal abuse, emotional, physical, humiliation, telling him he was not worth her time. It's really, really bad. So they had divorced. And when he found me, this was like in 2012, I was a brand new attorney, a couple of years in. He had been to like 5 attorneys, and they were like, nope, there's nothing we can do. Because, when you enter as a fiance, you're stuck with who brought you here. Okay? That's a lot. That's something else a lot of people don't know. You're stuck with who brought you to the United States.
Oh my goodness.
You can't just go marry. So if someone brings you as a fiance, you can't just go marry another person and get a green card. You got to leave the United States, right? So when he found,
let me ask a question to a question.
Sure. Go ahead.
What if the situation, this person, you realize that there's no connection and you can't move forward with it?
Then
at that point, what do you do?
Then you go back to your home country and try again, I guess. You cannot adjust status in the United States. If someone brings you because K1s are only U.S. citizens can bring K1s to the United States, right? Bring fiancés. Green card holders can't. So it's kind of in place to protect the U.S. citizens. So when you bring a partner as a K1 and because you have 90 days to get married, if things don't work out, they got to go back. So when he found my law firm, he was coming in with his new girlfriend, who was a U.S. citizen, to marry her. And I was like, we can't do this. I mean, you can marry her, but you're not going to get your green card in the United States. So anyway, so we discovered, we could do VAWA, because I was like, so tell me about this past marriage, because he had maybe 3 months before his 2 years to file his VAWA. And his case was really hard because he was a man from Liberia. There was no physical abuse. It was all emotional, psychological. So trying to make the case
very hard to prove, huh?
Very hard, because physical abuse, you can see it, right? There's a scar.
Yeah.
There's a mark. there's a police report, maybe emotional. It's like abstract. You can't touch it. Like you can't. And so this is where creative lawyering comes in, right? And you center the client. At least that's what I do. I center my clients, and it's about my clients. And so I bring in your entire story. So this man had been through the Liberian War. He was at a camp in Ghana. He had endured a lot of emotional, psychological harm even before coming to the United States. He had been in an abusive relationship before getting here. So I just pulled everything together. We received something called an RFE, request for evidence, because the USCIS was like, no, we ain't buying it. I responded. We received something called a notice of intent to deny, which means we had responded to the RFE. They're like, not convinced. We're going to deny your case. Responded, and we won. That was a very, very tough case. Yes.
You get the whole part in the back.
Yes. Give me your flowers.
You did it. Yes.
Yes. Very tough
Wow.
case. Very tough case.
One thing we didn't talk about was the removal or deportation process. Can you shed some light on that before
yeah. So essential removal defense means at some point in the United States, you've been determined to be here unlawfully, either because you entered without inspection, meaning without a visa across the border, or you may have entered with inspection, but now you've overstayed your visa, or maybe you're a green card holder, but now you've committed an aggravated felony or a very grave crime, and now you're being deported. So removal defense means you get put in deportation because now they're attempting to remove you out of the United States, but we present a relief, so a reason for you to stay. So let's say they determine that you've overstayed your F1 visa, but we're like, oh, wait a minute. She's married to a U.S. citizen. She can get a green card through her spouse. Or you're in removal. And we're like, wait a minute. She qualifies for asylum. She can say, so removal defense is a reason for you not to be deported. So a lot of times it's through a family member. Asylum, there's also something called cancellation of removal, which means, you show there are a lot of different factors depending on how long you've been in the United States. If you have a family member who's either a U.S. citizen or green card holder who would suffer extreme hardship if you were removed out of the United States, a lot of times you got to show like medical issues and things like that. So removal defense is, it's a very tricky area of immigration because you're dealing with like time. It's really quick. You got to make sure you present your relief timely, and it has to be substantial, right? We have to make the case why you should not be deported back to your home country. So,
wow.
Yeah.
All right, we got another question that came in. If one was married to a U.S. citizen and he died 3 years into the marriage, and your green card is extended for another 48 months, can you file for citizenship during those 48 months?
So your partner was a U.S. citizen, but now the extension only happens when you're removing your conditions on your green card. So you first have to get the conditions properly removed, and then you can file for your citizenship. But during the time you're removing the conditions, that has to be established first, and then you can file for your citizenship.
Okay. All right, guys, do you have any more questions? If you do not, we're going to try to wrap this up. It's Thanksgiving Eve. I'm sure Kiki wants to go back to her family and socialize. I also want to, I also have some food prepping to do. So,
right. So do I.
So, if you don't have any questions, we can wrap this up. Ms. Kiki, I really want to say thank you. Thank you so much for, taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us here. I mean, we feel honored. Okay. I feel like, okay, on New Year's Eve, I'll be partying. Okay. I'll party. No, no, but thank you for this wealth of information. I'm sure it will help a lot of people. And folks, please reach out to her.
Of course.
She's the best at what she does. You can see how passionate she speaks about her services. And so we said how we connect. How can we connect to her? Okay, I would send the link. Kiki, if you want to go ahead and repeat your
So the firm is the Gilman, and again, I can't like type anything because I'm like behind the scenes. But We are the Gilman Immigration Law Firm. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Just Google Gilman Immigration, and you'll know when it pops up. You'll know it's us. We have our phone number is 612-453-2691. 612-453-2691. Call.
I'll link all of that when I share this.
Yes, and if you call and say, "Let's get real," the consultation is free.
Come on, guys. Come on. Look at that. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Guys, she's giving you guys a free consultation. Come on now. What's better than that?
Right.
Oh my God. Listen, Santa came early this year, okay?
Right. But you got to say, let's get real. You got to say, let's get real. If you don't say, let's get real, you got to pay.
Yes, that part. Love it, love it, love it. Yes. But Kiki, thank you
You're welcome.
Totally appreciate you. And to my Let's Get Real gang, thank you for always showing up. Thank you for always supporting. I know, I'm kind of like bipolar-ish when it comes to this week I'm on. I'm gonna try to be consistent. To be honest,
doing fine. It's life happens. You're fine. It's good. Don't worry about it. I mean, we did this and, kind of last minute. It's fine.
Yeah. So I just want to say, guys, I know you all are cooking right now. I want to say, may your jollof rice be tasty. May your grilled fish and pepper chicken plump. Because I know I'm not even calling all the American food because I know y'all are not gonna cook it. African homes are the only home that you go to. They don't have their the real Thanksgiving food. You're not gonna see no candied yam, and gravy.
Right.
The only thing that's guaranteed is the turkey. Okay.
Right. Right.
So may your fufu be delicious. And
I heard that.
And your price take the prize for your Thanksgiving dinner, but of course, let your Thanksgiving dinner stay off your tithe, guys. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. So wishing you all a happy Thanksgiving, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. Kiki, thank you so much. Let me let you go. I appreciate you.
You too. Have a lovely Thanksgiving, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Of course, you as well. Good night, everyone. Thanks again.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.